so I don't feel like putting one on. But I just wanted to come on here really quickly. Hi, sorry. Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Tamara. This is Delightfully Chaotic. Thank you for coming to my channel. So, I want to talk briefly about this conversation that we continue to have in our community about coffee dates. I wasn't going to do this. I saw that Steph had a video that was pretty dope. I think she called it Coffee Date Gate. I wasn't going to do this, but I saw another post this morning on Threads about it, and the person who posted it was a woman, and she was more her comment was more aligned with how I view the whole coffee date thing. It was more aligned with my perspective of it, and I'm going to give a little bit of that perspective today. So the reason why I have a problem with the coffee date conversation, for one, we need to stop having it. Do what works for you. At the end of the day, do what works for you. If you're a woman who was trained up and taught to believe that how a man views you, and how he, obviously as human beings, just based off GP, we should all be respected just because we are all human beings. And if you were brought up to believe that a man's interest in you, the way they see you, the way they value you and see your worth as a person and as a woman, is directly equated to the things that they do for you and the money they spend on you and how they make you feel, and doing the rolling out the red carpet and doing these whimsical, like, dramatic, grand gestury things on a first date. If you're a person who equates that with, oh, he really likes me, oh, he really sees my worth because he spent $1,000 on our date, and he paid for valet, and he carried me to my seat, and sure, the conversation was dry and I'm not really super interested in him physically, but he made me feel like a pretty little princess for an hour and a half, and I had these really awesome pictures to share in my Instagram story. If you're a woman who really seriously, and I'm not even trying to like be funny despite everything I just said, I'm really not. If you're a woman who stands firm in your values and what you believe, if you strongly believe that a man only values you if he spends an exorbitant amount of money on the very first encounter that you have with him as far as a date, and you refuse to do a meetup or a preliminary anything, it has to be straight out the gate, this is what we're doing, all the bells and whistles, it has to be that or nothing. If you're one of those women, that's fine. It's fine to be one of those women. The problem I have with those women is when y'all get on this internet and you try to make women who think the way I do, feel that we don't see our value or we don't see our worth as women, because we're saying, sure, yeah, I'll meet you really quick at the Starbucks for a cute little coffee and some biscotti, no problem. That doesn't mean that we don't value ourselves. That doesn't mean that we don't see our worth. That doesn't mean that he isn't putting in any effort. To me, it simply means that, because from experience, I don't like wasting time. I don't like getting super dressed up and looking all cute and sitting across from someone with dry ass conversation, a narcissistic, overly confident man whose only draw is the money that he's spending, and he secretly, but not so secretly, just wants to get some ass at the end of the night. And if he doesn't get that ass at the end of the night, he's gonna call somebody and get it until you finally give it to him after the second, third date. Not to say every man who spends lots of money on women on the first date, that's their intention, but some of them that is their intention. I say all that to say, again, my perspective is this. I'm fine with going on a quick little 30-minute, Yeah, let's chop it up, suss out the vibes. Yeah, you could do a Facebook call. A Facebook. What is that thing called? FaceTime. You can do a FaceTime call. Sure. Me personally, I would rather just meet him in person. See what the energy is like, see what it's giving. If we're kind of like, I'm a smart ass kind of like sarcastic person, and some men don't like that. So I kind of want to see what the energy is like, if we can go, back and forth in the banter and see if we're vibing, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's the first time that you're meeting up with someone, there's nothing wrong with just doing a quick little meetup. Yes, that's what it is. Just to see if you even like each other. If I can't sit down with you for 30 minutes, I'm absolutely the fuck not gonna be sitting across from you at Ruth's Chris or some shit. I don't care if the food is amazing. I don't care if the ambiance is amazing. I don't like being around people that I don't like and I'm not attracted to and that I'm not vibing with. I've done that. I've been quiet and been like, oh, I'm not really feeling this guy, but I guess, we're here. When I really could have just got up and got an Uber and left, I would just sit there and kind of take it. I'm not doing that shit anymore. If I'm not feeling you, I'm not feeling you. So if we go to this little Starbucks down the street, chop it up real quick. If it's like that, there's nothing stopping this man from saying, what are you doing later tonight? Let's go to insert a really expensive restaurant here. If you don't feel comfortable, I can meet you there, or I can come pick you up. There'll be a chariot and horses and all that shit. I don't know. Because you don't know what his tax bracket is. You don't know how much money he might or might not have, because it is a preliminary like meetup thing. He's probably at the most spending about maybe $10, $15, 2 coffees, some, like I said, biscotti, a little snack. And there's nothing stopping that man from wanting to continue later on that night, the next day. It's literally what you're doing. You're meeting up with each other, sussing up the vibes, just trying to see if you're even a fit. Because and I've said this in a couple of the comments, and after this, I'm going to just filter my threads, because I can't. And I'm not trying to say that my way is the right way or my perspective is the right perspective. I'm saying all this to say, I don't like wasting my time, like I said. I don't like getting all dressed up and, ending up like, oh, this was kind of a bust. Like, yeah, I had a good meal, but if I'm dating with the intention of getting to know someone, to have not just a first date, but a second date, a third date, and so on, and eventually having a relationship with this person, the food and how much he spends on me is going to be like an afterthought. What's the character of this man? Yeah, he spent a couple $1,000 on a meal. Ooh, do people really spend that much? Let's say, okay, yeah, he spent a few $100s on a meal, but is he an asshole? Is he a sociopath? Is he going to lace my antibacterial with fentanyl? Am I going to wake up in a basement? I don't know. Because I don't know this man. And he doesn't know me. He doesn't know me. But what I'm saying is, in my frustration and what led me to do this video, is that a lot of you women are, and I'm a woman's woman all day. Don't come in my comments about no pick me shit. I've been intentionally single since 2019. It's always these niggas around here. I'm a girl's girly. But it's just, to me, it's like a logical common sense thing. To me, I know how I would perceive it if I was a man out here trying to date. Like, I don't really know this girl like that. Like, I like her, she's attractive, but I haven't even really had like a real conversation with her. I'm not gonna spend $200 on a date, and then she might not even call me the next day. I won't even hear from her. She'll probably block me. You know what I mean? Like, who wants to waste that kind of money in Trump's America? In this economy, who wants to just throw away hundreds of dollars? Who wants to put in all that effort for someone to potentially not even really appreciate it? They just flicking it up across the table from you and just posting everything online and saying, oh, look what I did. But like, what's my favorite color? Do you remember what we talked about? Like, that's the thing. If I'm going on dates, I'm dating with the intention of getting to know someone. Again, I'm not a pick me. I don't care about that shit. Don't come in my comments with that shit. I'm not a pick me. I'm looking at it as a logical thing, and I'm looking at it like, put yourself on the other side of that. You wouldn't want to spend a whole bunch of money on somebody you do not know. These niggas don't know you, and he could spend $1 million on a first date. He could still knock your ass upside the head if you say something he don't like on the next date. Huh? I know that a lot of women, even in their big grown ages, like to believe like, oh, I'm a princess, and I'm a queen and I need to be treated as such. Treat yourself that way first. And then when you do that, it's not gonna matter how a nigga perceives you or how they view you. If they view your worth, if they don't, and you know that they don't see you in the way that you want them to see you, in the way that they should, and they don't respect you that way, then get the fuck on. I lost my train of thought. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money a man spends on you on a first date. It really does not. It doesn't. It doesn't mean that he's a good man. It doesn't mean that he has great character about him. Like I said, a lot of men spend lots of money on a first date because they want something in return. And some of them will just take it. You might be with a rapist, a rich rapist. You know, the date could be super thoughtful. It could be super just like a dream date. He could be a complete psychopath. Or he could be a really great guy. I personally believe that the really great guys that are okay with spending a whole bunch of money on a first date, very, very few and far between. And if you find one of them, great for you. And again, I say all this to say the reason why I came on here is because a lot of women I see in the comments say, oh, well, they know who to try that with. I ain't doing all that. I'm not finna meet. That's a meetup. That ain't no date. Date involves food. Starbucks got food. Okay, yeah, it's prepackaged. Do what you want. Do what works for you. But when it comes to saying little smart shit like that, like it's not necessary. I like expensive, extravagant dates. Even if it's not expensive, just say that. Say I like, going to a restaurant on a first date. But don't then say they know who to do that with, and y'all women don't know your value. If you're allowing a coffee on a first date, what? First of all, that's not even going to be a date. Again, it's a meetup. It's something preliminary. It's not. If you're dating with the intention of actually getting to know someone, how much someone spends on you and the effort they put into a very first date would be like an afterthought. It wouldn't even be like, who is this man? Is this someone I can have kids with? Is this someone who's gonna talk to the waiter like a piece of shit? Is this someone who is family, or you know what I mean? Like, does this person have the values that I'm looking for in a mate? Is this someone who I would want to go on a second and third date with? Let's talk about that. That's all I'm saying. Like, do what you want to do, but when y'all be talking about, I couldn't be me, so you don't go on dates like that then, because I don't know a lot of niggas that's just willing to just spend hundreds of dollars on a first date. Like I said, put yourself in that situation. Would you want to spend hundreds of dollars and plan out this extravagant date for someone that you do not know? These niggas you don't know this person. And I'm obviously, you can go on a first date with someone that you know, but I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about a longtime friend and y'all vibing all of a sudden y'all want to like date. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about someone that you do not know. Someone you met at Walmart on Friday and he want to hang out on Saturday. That's what I'm talking about. Now, going to somebody's house? Absolutely not. I'm not going to your house. I'm not going to your house probably until way later down the line. But a quick little meetup, because I said, again, I don't like wasting my time. I don't like getting all dressed up. And I'm going to share a little story from my dating experience when dating was a thing for me. I'm 42. When I was in my mid-30s, I want to say like 2015 to like 2017, I was really like, I want a boyfriend, I want to date, I want to meet someone. I was on dating apps, and I was on dating apps for like all of 3 months, not even, because I don't have the patience. I was on Black People Meet, and I went on 3 different dates with 2 different people. So one person I went on like 2 dates with, and then another person I went on 1 date with. I never do that again. Literally before I even put any pictures on that shit, it was like people messaging me. You don't even know what I look like. So I was just like, I can't do that anymore. But in that time frame, I was really like I want to meet someone. I want to like do the things, and I want to have a boyfriend and do all that. And I don't want to use the D word. I don't want to say I was desperate, but I guess there's no other way to describe it. I really wanted a connection with someone. And there was this guy who lived in my apartment complex. Prior to me moving there, my parents lived there. And I would see him from time to time. He was not attractive at all. It looked like he had a mask on his face. That's a whole nother conversation. And this is going into where I was mentally at that time. So he would see me and he would try to talk to me, and I'd be like, oh, go away. But then one day, this was after I had already moved in there. I had my own apartment there. He's driving by. I'm walking from the mailbox, and I recognized him, and I don't know if he recognized me, because some men some men will see you 5-6 times and they'll continually try to speak to you as if they've never met you before a day in their life. So he could have remembered me from previous times that he's tried to holler. I don't know. But he asked me for my number again, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I was in a different headspace. I was like, yeah, sure. So I gave him my number, and he was like, I'm going to take you out tonight. And I was like, okay. Flash forward to my big fours. Tonight? No. Can we do like tomorrow? Maybe a week? Tonight? I was like, yeah, sure, tonight. He took me to this really nice restaurant here in Orlando. The kind of restaurant that has the fancy cars outside, all that shit. Boo. And I forgot what he did for a living. It doesn't matter. I think he owned his condo, and he had some kind of money. He basically just wanted to flash his money. And he took me to a really nice restaurant. And when I tell you, I don't even remember what the hell we talked about. I don't even remember what we talked about. The food was good. I don't really remember what I ate. He spent a lot of money. He did the valet, all the things, flashy. I could tell that he really just wanted to smash, honestly. He wasn't even really trying. Aside from the money that he paid, he wasn't really trying to get to know me like that. And I accepted it. I continued to date him for a couple more months. After that, that was the only date he took me on. He didn't take me on any more dates after that. And I didn't require him to, because again, I was in a whole nother world. And he ended up sexually assaulting me. At the end of the day, he ended up sexually assaulting me in one of the worst ways you could possibly. He was awful. But he spent a few $100s on a date, and he wined and dined me, barely spoke to me across the table, but I don't even think he asked me how my food was. You see the point I'm trying to make? Now, had I gone to maybe get a icy or a ice cream cone or a coffee with this nigga, within the first few minutes I would have been like, nah. Unless he would have pretended to be somebody that he's not, which a lot of men also do, money or not, with or without money. If I would have done like a preliminary kind of like thing, I definitely wouldn't have wasted my time going on that date with him later that night. I wouldn't have, because he was whack. And again, but I was in a whole nother world. I didn't value myself, and yeah, I ended up being assaulted. I'm not saying that that's how all men are, of course. It's not, but I really just want our people to get out of this narrative with the coffee dates thing. With everything going on in this wretched world, I'm really so tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of being pulled into the conversations, and nobody's making me say anything, but it's nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense. It's annoying. And I really want the women to just like give other people grace. Like, there's nothing wrong with being practical and being like, sure, let's even see if we want to even tolerate each other for an hour and a half to 2 hours at a restaurant. Let's even see if that. But then women who are very like big on not accepting coffee dates, I'm not trying to judge, but to me it kind of seems like, are you trying to get fed at a fancy restaurant, or do you actually want to get to know this man? Again, I'm not a pick me, but like I'm really speaking from like a common sense kind of thing. Are you trying to just get fed for the night, or do you actually want to get to know this person? You know, what if he does do like a super fancy, like some shit you would see in like a 90s rom-com kind of shit? Like, what if he did do this extravagant first date for you? What are you going to expect for the second date and the third date? You know, there's nothing wrong with pacing yourself when it comes to dating and getting to know people. People out here crazy. Like I said, you're going to end up in a damn basement somewhere with your tuna tartare all in your stomach. Full belly, but you can't move because you got some cable ties around your waist and your mouth is taped. No, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. All I'm saying is, please, women, ladies, just give other women grace and just try to look at it from a different perspective. I value myself. I value my worth as a person, as a woman, and a man does not validate me. A man wanting to spend money on me does not validate me. It's a cherry on the top kind of thing. If there's a man out there who wants to spend all that money and just like throw it away, and you know, because who's to say you're even gonna talk to this person the next day? She could ghost you. And as a man, I would be pissed. Especially if I'm a working class man or somebody that, you know, I could really like you. I'm trying to put myself into this headspace of a man in this dating world, because it is, because of the patriarchy and everything, men are kind of like trained, and women are also trained for men to make the first move and to do the things and pay for the dates and stuff, or at least the first date. So it's a lot of pressure for anybody. And if you're just a working class person, again, in Trump's economy, like I wouldn't want to spend that kind of money either, only to not hear from the person the next day, or for them to continuously expect this extravagance and this. And I keep on saying extravagance. I mean, it could literally be Cheesecake Factory, and that's fine too. But like, to require that every single time, you're not going to be going on a lot of dates. You're not. And if you really want to date to meet someone and to get to know someone and to be in a relationship, then that could be a problem. Or if you're just wanting to date to get free meals, then fine, go wherever you want. Hopefully you don't end up in that basement. he could I'm not trying to be funny. I'm really not. And I'm not trying to say that I'm not, because you could he could spike your latte at Starbucks too. You could still end up in the basement, because you just never know. I just really want y'all to stop. Like, let people do what they want to do, but just stop with the punching down on other people. I'm talking to the ladies. Again, I'm a ladies lady. I'm a girls girl. Girls girl all day. I'm not one of those women that tries to acquiesce or kind of like conform to what men. It's coming from a common sense, what would I want to do in that situation perspective. Okay, that's where my opinion's coming from. People out here, you know, if you got it like that and you want to spend money like that, fine. But I don't think that you should look down on people who choose to me, a man who's paces himself and really is careful with his money and his time, and really just is careful with that, and doesn't just throw money around, and he really is sitting there thinking, you know, I do like this girl. I like her. But let's say it's a coworker. She's dope. I like her vibe, and you know, I haven't really had a chance to really get to know her outside of work, so this would be my first time getting to know her. But at the same time, even if I have the money, I don't really want to spend it, because that's a gamble. That's a gamble for a lot of dudes. Like Like I said, they might not even hear from you the next day, or you might ice them out at the office. Like, and you got a free meal, and what do they get? They're out $200, $300. So it's like, put yourself in that situation. How would you feel? You wouldn't want to spend that money, and you don't get no return on your investment. Think about it. It's just common sense shit. Like I said, do what you want to do, feel how you want to feel, but don't punch down on other people. Don't talk about, oh, can't be me, and I blah blah blah. I'm almost done. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything. I want y'all to stop. You're not going to, but I really want y'all to stop with this shit, man. I really do. And this is coming from one of the girliest girls there is. I'm a girl's girl. But I also like to think that I have just a smidge of common sense. And I grew up in a two-parent household where I saw both my parents working, both of them coming together, paying the bills. You know, dare I say, I'm fine with 50-50, because you're not kicking me out of no motherfucking where. Hello. That's a whole nother conversation. I don't completely forget how to pay a bill because I got married to someone, like, whatever. And if I don't pay any bills, guaranteed I'm gonna have something stashed, but my name's gonna be on something. That's a whole nother conversation. But it's just a common sense thing. Like, if you're out there just going on dates just to get free meals, first of all, what are you doing? But if that's your thing, that's your thing. Don't shame other people if they have different ways of doing things. I'd rather spend 30 minutes trying to get to know someone, and after, really before 30 minutes, I'm already going to know if I want to spend more time with that person. Then if it's not like that, okay, well, thank you. Nice meeting you. Move on with your day. If it is, like I said, there's nothing stopping that man from wanting to continue to move forward with you, and he can knock your damn socks off later that night. Like, okay, you don't know, you don't know. And I hate to be one of those people that say you missed out on your blessings. I hate that. I hate that saying. But you don't know. You don't know that person. You don't know what would be in store if you just pace yourself and kind of like really get to know that person. Because to me, that's what dating is getting to know people with the potential of becoming partners and being in a relationship. I don't know what a lot of y'all be on. I really don't. So that's my 2 cents. And if you have a different perspective, please feel free to share it. Please be nice, because I'm not Michelle Obama. I'm not going to go high. I'm right down there looking at you. I'm right there with you. I don't want to do that. Let's keep it nice. Let's keep it cute. Thank you if you made it all the way to the end of this video. And please like and subscribe for more. Bye.